Good evening, everybody. So now we'll start the session. First of all, I would like to thank everyone for joining us on a Sunday evening. My name is Piyush Sanduja, and I'll be the host for this event today. I'm also the co-founder of Mother Your Child. So at Mother Your Child, we want to provide holistic healthcare to every child in India. And our aim is to reach out to 5 crore children of India in the coming 5 years. So today for this session, along with me, I have Dr. Monica Singh. She is a practicing pediatrician and also the co-founder of Mother Your Child. She has more than 10 years of experience now. And in last 10 years, she has treated more than 10,000 children. She has not only worked in private setups like Ganga Ram Hospital and Maharaja Agrasen Hospital, but she has also worked in government setups, especially with government of NCR. So let's welcome Dr. Monica Singh.
Thank you, Piyush. Thank you for the warm welcome. Thank you everyone for joining in on a Sunday, and that too on a Sunday evening. We're very grateful to you.
Thank you, Dr. Monica. So before we start the session, let me tell you how we are going to proceed. So we have already collected some questions, tempting questions that disturb our parents. And first of all, I'll be asking those questions in an interview setup from Dr. Monica. And this will continue for next 15 to 20 minutes. And after 15-20 minutes, when this session is over, you parents can jump in and start asking your questions. So you can do two things. Either you can directly ask your questions to Dr. Monica, or if you'll write those questions in your chat box, I'll pick it up on your behalf and I'll put it across to Dr. Monica. So without further ado, let's start this session. So today's session, as everyone of you knows, that it's on screen time in kids during COVID and how is it impacting our kids. So the first questions that our community of parents have, and I feel it is a very basic question also. Dr. Monica, they are asking, what exactly is screen time and how is it impacting during COVID especially?
Yeah, Piyush. Screen time is a total amount of time that a child, in this case, spends on screens. By screens, I mean TV, computers, laptops, anything that is digital, that is handheld, and that gives some visual form of aid to the child, engages a child visually.
Okay. And Dr. Monica, how is it impacting during COVID?
See, what has happened in COVID is that everyone's working from home. Parents are working from home. Children are studying from home. That has led to intermingling of personal spaces and social spaces.
Yes.
Which has led to delayed, I'd say, detachment from the screens and excessive attachment to the screens. Parents, by the end of the day, are too tired to engage with children. And I totally understand them. There was a survey done which showed that in the Indian population, there has been a 25% increase in the total screen time in the past couple of years. Okay. So the screen time in the Indian population now clocks to around 6.9 hours, as long as I remember.
Okay.
And in children, the same data suggests that the screen time has increased by 100%. That is to say, it has doubled.
Okay.
The study was conducted in children between the age of 5 to 15 years.
Okay.
So yeah, that is worrisome, the current scenario with the screen time. So the screen time in children now, it clocks to around 10 hours a day, around 10 hours, 10.2 hours to be precise, a day. Yeah.
So I feel it is very shocking that screen times have increased and more or less doubled for our children, and they are above 10 hours per day. But what our parents would like to know is there any guideline that suggests what the permissible limit should be as far as kids' screen time is concerned?
Yeah, fortunately, there are guidelines for the same. It depends on age of the child. If the child is less than 18 months, no screen time is permitted to the child. Okay. The child can only use screens occasionally to chat with a grandparent who's far away or with a parent if he or she is out of town. If the child is between the age of 1.5 to 2 years, a screen time of around 15 to 20 minutes every day is allowed. and that too under parental supervision. And if the child is between the age of 2 to 5 years, the screen time that is allowed is the screen time that I'm talking about here is non-educational screen time. It is around 1 hour per day on the weekdays and 3 hours per day on the weekends.
Okay.
For children who are more than 5 years old, there are no set guidelines for the screen time, but we should again encourage healthy habits and encourage activities that limit screen time usage. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what you were saying is that the allowable limit for children in 2 to 5 years is 1 hour per day during the weekdays
Yeah.
and 3 hours per day during the weekends.
Yeah.
If we see, if we combine, if we look at it as a week basis, then it comes out to be 11 hours, 10 to 11 hours on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And you're saying that this limit has increased to 10 times during COVID. Right?
Yeah.
Children are using their screen for 10 hours per day.
Yes.
Is the total increase, is this increase due to only educational content because children are now studying from home? Is this increase due to that?
I don't think so. The educational content will only last for 6 to 7 hours. The rest 3 to 4 hours are unexplained. And yeah, I don't blame the children also because they have nowhere to go. They have the only thing that they have to their solace is the screen, and they use it completely.
Yes, yes, yes. So you're saying that allowable non-educational screen time is 10 hours per week. So that comes out to be around 1.5 hours per day. And this has increased to 4 hours per day because there is no physical activity and there is no social interaction between other children.
Children are missing on a lot of stuff. The social interaction is must for their development.
Yes.
It's not happening, which is worrisome. Yeah.
Yes. So, Dr. Monica, our parents would like to know what is the impact of this screen time? Why should they limit the screen time?
Piyush, the excessive use of screen has been known to cause developmental delay in children. It has also known to be it also causes sleep disturbances in children. And of recent, it has also been found that excessive screen usage is associated with obesity and other behavioral problems in children.
Okay. So what you're trying to say is that the effect of excess screen usage is not just physical, not just into the developmental delays, but the effect is also social, emotional, and psychological.
Yeah, it affects the child holistically. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, it affects the child holistically. So as parents, we would like to dig deeper into all the aspects because some of the parents do not understand or are not aware because the COVID situation has come and they were not ready for handling their children using their screens excessively, right? So you said that excess screen time causes developmental delays. Can you please explain how it happens?
See, we will divide categories of children into two. One is the child who uses screen time for more than 2 hours. The other one who uses it for less than 2 hours. There was a research that was carried out which showed that children who are using more than 2 hours of screen per day have been known to perform poorer than their peers in thinking and language tests. And also children, they need their dose of boredom. If you continuously keep the child engaged, the child will not get bored. The child will not know how to control his impulses because when he wants the screen, you're giving the screen to him. So the child will not learn how to control his impulses and how to probably deal with problems in his life later on.
Okay.
Also, when children, they learn to vocalize, when they learn to speak, they learn from non-verbal cues. When you give the screen to the child sees that something is moving in the screen, but he does not understand what is actually happening. He does not understand the form of it.
Yes.
He needs to understand the non-verbal cues. He needs to read his parents' faces or probably their body language. He needs to understand that to deal with situations or to develop his language and his verbal skills further.
Okay. So you mentioned there was a research that has come up with some numbers which suggest that beyond 2 hours, it affects children's thinking and language development. So
Yes.
frankly, can we say that excess screen time can dumb down our children and probably
Yes, it can.
hamper their growth?
The child needs physical and social engagement, which is not being given by the screen. So
Yes.
obviously the milestones of the child, the overall development of the child will be delayed.
Okay, okay. Second point that you raised was excess screen usage impacts the sleep. What is the science behind that?
Our sleep cycle has a circadian rhythm.
Okay.
Our body knows when it is day and our body knows when it is night. But what happens when you give the child the screen? The child is continuously visually stimulated by the screen. He thinks that your mind, your brain perceives it to be a day, it to be day, when actually it is the night.
Okay, okay.
And what happens is there's a hormone called melatonin that is secreted from the brain, which helps in proper sleep.
Okay.
It is not the hormone levels, they decrease if the child is continuously engaged on the screen, which leads to improper quality of sleep. I'd say the child does not sleep as a, but it happens a lot that parents come to me and they tell me कि भाई बच्चा 1 बजे तक जगा रहता है, 2 बजे तक जगा रहता है, phone देखता रहता है. That is all because you're continuously stimulating the child with the mobile phone or whatever you're using.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, okay. So you're saying that our mind doesn't register that it is night. If you are in front of your screen, your mind is not registering. Your mind is feeling that it's daytime, and that melatonin is not getting released.
It is getting released, but the levels are low. Yes.
Okay, okay. So the third point that you raised was that excess screen time can lead to obesity. As parents, parents come to us. When I talk to parents, when we talk about holistic health, they're not able to see the linkage between excess screen usage and children becoming obese. Can you talk about this? Can you please explain it for our parents?
See, what happens is when children are engaged on screen, the physical activity is hampered. They're not moving physically. And logic says that whenever we're watching something on a screen, when Netflixing or something, we tend to munch on things which are not healthy. Nobody munches on healthy things while using their screens. And the advertisements that children see on screen, they obviously promote unhealthy content, unhealthy eating things, which obviously the child wants, because the child sees advertisements, it registers in his mind ki, I want this thing, I want to eat this thing. So he'll go in the kitchen or he'll ask his parents to get something which is closer to that thing and which will obviously be unhealthy. So all of this compounded leads the child to be overweight, and gradually the overweight child turns obese.
Okay, okay. So you're saying that they see okay, fine. What I understand is that children become picky eaters by watching different kind of content, by watching celebrities or watching people eating unhealthy content, and they become picky eater. So is it possible that some children won't become obese, but they will become underweight? Is it also possible?
Yeah, it is possible, because in the growing age, what children need is healthy food, nutritious food laden with protein. And of the packet food that they're getting, what do they get? They get refined carbohydrates, they get sugars in it, but they do compensate for the calorie requirement of the child, but it is all unhealthy. They do not get the nutrients that are required for their proper growth. So obviously, in the long run, it can lead to the child being underweight.
Okay, okay, okay. So both the things can happen.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned that excess screen time causes some behavioral problems. Please delve deeper into it, Dr. Monica.
There's a neurotransmitter by the name of dopamine that is secreted from our brain, which is related. When you give the child the screen, the dopamine levels increase because it is a pleasure hormone.
Yes.
So what happens is when you take away the screen from the child, even though he wants the screen, but the level of dopamine dips. And when the level of that hormone dips, what happens is the child becomes grumpy, the child becomes irritable. And that thing that becomes a part of the behavior of the overall being of the child. That becomes a behavioral issue for a child. The child is inattentive, the child is aggressive because he wants the screen and you're not giving him the screen. So these problems are happening in children.
Okay. So you're saying that children are becoming more impulsive because once they're in front of the screen, the dopamine gets released, which is the happiness hormone, as you said. And once you snatch the screen from children, then they become irritable. Okay.
Yes.
And you also
They tend to become irritable. It does not apply to each and every child, but yeah, that is the normal tendency of children. Yeah.
You also mentioned that exposure to some questionable content, probably related to sexuality or celebrities using substance on screen. How does this questionable content usage, looking at such questionable content, how does this affect our children? Does it also add to the behavioral issues?
It might add to the behavioral issue because the internet is not a safe place for children to be. First of all, there are a lot of uncensored contents that are easily available on the internet. The child, they can be bullied too, and they can also get into substance abuse because they see that they like a certain celebrity and he's promoting a pan masala or he's smoking. So the child gets confused. What is right? What is wrong? He does not know, and he's quite uncomfortable going to his parents to ask about it. So what he does, he tries those things. And at that age, when you try something, if it sticks with you, it continues on for life. It is very difficult to disengage from that thing when you start so early.
Okay. So what I have been able to understand from you, while there were many questions jumping into my mind while I've been talking to parents as well, it seems that the situation is not that simple. You can't just snatch away the screen from the children and that'll be it. It won't happen like that. So
yeah.
Can you now, talk about a solution, or can you give our parents some structure? How can they structurally plan limiting the screen time and, personalize or customize their children's screen time?
See, first off, to limit screen time, every household should have a social media plan or a digital plan.
Okay.
It is mandatory, it is must to have a digital plan, even if you don't have children. It is much to have that. So there are 6 components in the media plan. First is screen-free zones. Now, screen-free zones are the areas in your house where screens are not allowed. Screens are totally prohibited.
Okay.
They can be bedrooms, kitchens, or they can also be your dining space when everyone's eating together.
Okay.
Then the second thing is screen-free times. Now, there should be certain times, a certain duration when screens are totally not allowed.
Okay.
There, I'd say 2 hours before bedtime, or probably you should tell the child that while he's crossing the road or while he's driving, he should not use his screens.
Yes.
And also dinner time. Dinner time should be a family bonding exercise. It should not be about screens, but it should be about people bonding over dinner and talking about the day. Yes. Then the third thing is digital curfews. Now, what is a digital curfew? Digital curfew is the maximum allowable time till when you can use the screen in your house. It should be set to around 1 to 2 hours before the bedtime so that it does not affect the mind and you can sleep well. The fourth thing is digital citizenship. In digital citizenship, you need to teach the child the basic norms of using digital media, the basic safety rules. He should know that he should not bully someone because it is bad to bully someone. And also he should not get bullied himself. And if he does, he should know that his parents are there for him and he can come and talk to his parents about the same.
Yes.
Then the fifth thing is safety rules. You need to tell the child about some basic safety rules that he needs to have so that he's safe on social media or he's safe on the internet space. Okay. So not to share any personal information online, not to share personal photographs online, and you should also monitor all the websites that he is using and try to make the internet usage safe for him. And the sixth thing is the most important thing. Okay. Sleep and exercise. Proper sleep and exercising for at least 30 minutes to 1 hour a day. The child does not have to physically go out and jump. He can also do a yoga. He can, do a yoga. He can take a yoga session. He can probably, meditate with his parents, or, meditate by himself. Anything off the screens, and anything that engages in mind.
Okay. So what I have understood is that it's parents' job is not easy, because when we talk to parents, we get to hear stories like, highly educated parents. Now they are also working from home, and they say that we work for 12 to 13 hours a day, and their work is also on screen. And after 13 hours, when they shut down and all the work is over, what they do is they are left with, zero or very low emotional energy. And when they have to talk to their children at that time, without that energy, what they do is they give the screen to the child so that they themselves could rest. And the way you have explained is what I understood is that the screen control plan has to be on a family level, first of all.
Yeah. It leaves the parents' life also, and it'll also probably relax parents and children together. Because if you continuously, even for the parents, if they're continuously engaged to their screens, they don't get to interact with themselves. They do not understand what is going on in their head. If an impulse comes, they just pick up the phone, scroll through Instagram.
Yes. So the point is that, first of all, some discipline has to be maintained. Some discipline has to be established, depending upon what the working hours of the parents are, what the situation of the home is, whether it is a nuclear family or a joint family. Based on that, a personalized plan has to be there. First of all, discipline the screen time, and with the extra time that is left, that can be utilized into providing some constructive activities.
Definitely, yes.
So these activities can be artistic, depending upon the child.
Now you can take your child out for a walk, around your block, not out, but you can take the child around the block. You can, motivate them to help in the house. They can set up the table. They can, arrange the dinner table, water the plants. You can also work on something with your child. If he's wanting to do something, if he's been wanting to paint something, you can probably help him with that.
Okay.
You can engage them basically in activities at your home, so that he feels involved and he's engaged, and he knows that it is his responsibility to take care of that thing, whatever it is.
Yes. So basically, discipline with creativity has to be there.
Yes.
Okay. So I think it is the right time. I think our parents have been listening to our chat very patiently, and probably it is the right time. We have laid out, we have asked questions on the problem, as well as you have talked about the solution. So I think we would like to take some questions from parents. I can see that some of the parents have already put some questions in the chat. Mr. Himanshu, you can unmute yourself and you can ask your
question. Yeah. Hi. So my first question was to understand that we talked about non-educational content. Now, in my case, I have a baby who's only 1 year old. So how do I classify educational content? He does not have a proper schooling or any educator giving him content. And what I sometimes feel is that whatever he's seeing, he generally watches these rhymes and those kind of things. So I feel that I don't know if that is educational content or not, but when he watches it, I feel he's learning something, because he tries to imitate those actions. He tries to repeat some words. So is it okay to classify such content as educational content?
Yeah, learning. How old is the child?
14 months.
14 months. Screens are not allowed for children who are 14 months. Screens are not off limits.
Okay. So no screen at all.
No screen at all. You can only use it for video calling purposes, that to probably 5 or 6 minutes in a week. That's it. That's it.
Okay, just to add on to what Mr. Himanshu asked, probably I was about to ask this question later on. Many of our parents, have asked similar question, that children are, there are many apps, educational apps, that are marketed saying that these are educational apps and probably you can use them even if your child is under 2 years of age, or a toddler.
Yeah.
Should those apps be used? What do you say on that? Probably that is
There have been many researches that have happened on this topic, and what their conclusion was that educational apps, when they're used in children less than 2 years, they're not educational at all. Because young children, Piyush, they need to explore, they need to move, smell, manipulate, touch things, and understand their form basically. And they need to keep repeating it till they learn something out of it. And devices and screen, what they do is they only let the child touch and look. They're not using their whole body. They're not engaging their mind.
Yes.
So language and social skills, they are best developed through interactions with others, like having conversations or playing with things, not through an app.
Okay. Because one of the parents raised a question that they didn't allow their child to look at a screen for 1.5 years, but because due to COVID, they were also overworked. So what happened is that they ended up giving the child some screen time. Now children are very intelligent. We probably are not able to understand that, but children at this age are very intelligent. He told me that there are 15 types of tunes for a single song. Now he says that his daughter, she whenever they are trying to eat something, she needs a particular tune of the song. Now the child is just 2 years of age. What is your say on this, the whole situation? What is your point?
Exposing your child to music is fine, but exposing your child to music through screens, I don't think it's the right way to go about.
She only discovered all those tunes because she had the screen.
You can obviously play music is good for children, but you can't use music as an excuse to give them screens.
Okay. So probably
raising a child is not an easy job when both the parents are working. I understand that, but then you'll have to find ways to manipulate around your time, take time. The father takes some time out, he's coming for 15-20 minutes, and the mother comes and sees the child. It'll have to be a balancing act. Both the father and the mother, they need to be involved in raising a child, because it's not easy to raise a child.
Yes, definitely.
The child sees everything that the parents are doing.
Yes, Dr. Monica. So Mr. Nilesh has also raised his hand. Mr. Nilesh, would you like to ask your question now?
Yes. Hi, Piyush. Hi, Monica.
Hi, Nilesh.
So, I have a kid who is slightly older than 2 years. And since it's been around 1.5 years in these COVID times, there are no play groups, no preschools, no nothing kind of nursery is being operated in class. So, I mean, to educate the kid, we are trying maximum at home to teach her ABCD 1 2 3 4 colors, like a lot of primary things. But then there are a lot of preschools which have switched to online mode. For example, right now, EuroKids, Kidsy, these kind of play schools, since they are not being allowed to operate in class, all of them have switched to online education model.
Okay.
Now again, there are startups like Flinto Class and other such stuff, which which send some kits to your kid, and then you have online interactive session where you interact with other kids online and teacher online, and then you learn and socialize kind of virtually. So there it is not possible to avoid the screen time.
Yeah, but Nilesh, that's educational screen time.
Yeah.
Educational screen time is allowed beyond the age of 2 years.
Okay.
The child can, as long as the child is learning and taking his classes, the child can engage on screens after the age of 2 years. The screen time after 2 years that I was talking about was non-educational.
Okay. Okay. Like
1 hour.
Talk about educational screen time. How much? What is the permissible time?
There are no guidelines. Sadly, there are no guidelines for that. But anything between 4 to 5 hours, I think it should not be more than 6 hours. I'd say 6 hours to the max.
Okay.
Yeah. But there are no guidelines for that.
Okay.
Just to add on to what Mr. Nilesh said, even for children between 2 years to 5 years of age, the educational content can be up to 6 hours. Okay.
I'm sorry, what?
So I was saying that even if the child is from 2 years to 5 years of age, still the educational content consumption, can it go up to 6 hours?
When there are no guidelines about it, we can, just manipulate things, but it has to be less only. You can't give 6 hours to a child with the phone. Obviously, it must be around 2 to 3 hours a day, Nilesh.
Yeah.
For your kid, not more than that, no?
Yeah, close to 3 to 4 hours.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Miss Simi. Miss Simi, you can ask your question now.
Hi Monica and hi Piyush. Thank you so much. It's a really good session, and for the screen time and everything which is associated and impacting our kids. This had been really helpful. But I want to understand. I understand that while watching phone, mobile phone, tabs, or anything, they munch upon snacks. But what I have observed with my 7-year-old is that during a period of last 6 months, she has a loss of appetite. So, which I feel that this, which I don't know, but I link it with this screen time, because she is on screen for almost 7 to 8 hours a day.
7 to 8 hours a day.
Yeah, I'm a working mother, and my husband is also working. So, and I'm working from home though, but still difficult for me to spend time with her. And I have a difficult working hours. It's not the usual 9 to 6 where I have time post 6 and I can spend time with her, but it's 12 to 8. So that makes my life all the more difficult. I have very few hours to spend with her. And while, as Piyush also had mentioned, while we end up the day, we are really tired and exhausted to give her her ample energy, or streamline or channelize her energies. So that's the concern, that how do I reduce that? Though I understand the media plan that you told was really good, that we can do the digital curfew thing, and we can before 2 hours of the bedtime, we can stop screen. So that was a good suggestion that came across. But what else do you suggest?
Simi, I'd say you can have your meals with your kid. Whenever the kid, whatever your meal times are, if your lunch is at say 2, you'll obviously take a break for your lunch, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. There are.
Yeah. So you can, spend your lunchtime eating your lunch with your kid. Probably that way she'll be able to eat more, and she'll also feel good that you're spending time with her. That could be your bonding time. You can talk with her. You can take 15-20 minutes out, and you can talk to her about how her day is going on, and what is happening in her life generally. Talking about things in her life. So probably that'll engage your child more, and also that'll lead her to eat more, because obviously she's eating with you. She won't have to eat alone, and she will obviously feel good when she's eating with you. So you can try that.
That is one area that I have worked on, and I do that. I feel that I do that very effectively, and I ensure that I spend my meal time with her. But still, it has been difficult. Maybe because of the hormonal thing that you said, that the kids have. Maybe it's a combination effect that is happening. The child is feeling grumpy, frustrated, and at the same time is losing on appetite. So is there something other than this that can be done?
You can obviously break out the meals for your child. You can give her meals every 2 hours, and you can also are there any kids around your block?
Okay. Yeah, that is one more thing that I have observed in a change in her. Maybe I am full of my problems here. And, but the thing is that what I have observed is that I have enrolled her for dance classes, though these are virtual classes. But for an hour, she is doing kind of exercise, meditation, and dance at the same time. So that's the kind of physical activity that I ensure that she's into. One thing. The second thing is that the change that I've observed is in the social intermingling. Like while the situation is easing after these vaccinations are progressing and after this the improvisation of COVID, what I can say as of now. So when we have like a small get together of our nearby colleague, nearby people who have kids of the same age, what I feel is that they get together and they look for a tab or they look for a time for screen to sit together and watch, which becomes all the more difficult for parents to manage. I'm sure that there might be many like me who must be facing the same problem. So this is one more area that we need to really look into of how to engage them. So I started to give her educational videos like number blocks or alpha blocks or anything like such kind, or there is some Dr. Binox videos. So these are all like informative videos, so that helps her enriching her knowledge. But I don't know beyond 6 hours or 6 hours also, I feel that that is more than enough. But she watches all of this for around 8 hours and just 1 hour of physical activity. Do you think that I should involve her more into physical activity?
Yes, more into physical activity, or probably tap her inner artist. What is she creative?
Highly creative. She for around 1.5 hours or two she spends in the morning. She spends in artwork and making anything, crafts, anything out of waste or trash. So she's like creative. Yes,
you can probably enroll her for an art class also, so that she learns something that she's really interested in. 8 hours screen time, I'd say, is still on the higher side. We should try to curtail it between 5 to 6 hours.
Right. Which is inclusive of the classes that she attend, or this is excluding that?
Inclusive.
Okay. So another difficulty. Okay, fine. Thank you so much for this session. I'm sure I'm going to work out on few areas that you've suggested.
Yeah, please let us know.
Sure. Thank you both of you.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Simi. What I have understood is that the job of a parent is not easy, especially in today's times. There is no straightforward answer to their problems. Again, it comes back to the solution. Probably you talked about, Dr. Monica, that there has to be a personalized plan as far as screen curtailing is concerned, right? Once you discipline the child first, it as you said, it can't happen just by snatching the screen from the children. First of all, parents will have to spend a lot of time to making the children understand those things, and then establish.
It's just like your school syllabus. If you have periods, you have this period for social studies, you have this period for science. That is how the media plan will also work. You fix the time block, so it'll be easy. It'll be difficult to implement it in the initial, I'd say, 1 week or 2 weeks, but after that it'll become second nature to you. I'm trying to do it myself, so I think initial 2 weeks you get a lot of resistance, but then you get in the flow and you start liking your life without screens.
Yes. No, the point is that in today's time, first of all, as Simi was also mentioning, that life is difficult. Parents are working, they do not have time. Second, your child is also very irritated. Parents are not aware of all these things. Now the child comes very irritated and parents have low energy. It becomes very difficult to handle it. See, this what I've being able to understand. I think we should take another question from Mr. Ram Prakash. Mr. Ram.
Hi, hello everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello,
Mr. Ram. You can.
Yeah, hi.
Good question.
Yeah. Oh, basically, basically, I have a daughter. She's like 8. She's in class 4. I do spend a lot of time online. My wife is also working, so she ends up having her own time. She has her own phone, and she does spend a lot of time on screen. So she ends up watching a lot of sitcoms and YouTube, basically all these kids influencer videos wherein there are all these kids channels which are there online, wherein they are doing a lot of role plays across families. So one that sets up unfair expectations in terms of what children expect from their parents. And second is that it's difficult to get rid of that screen time from her. In fact, I was surprised to know some time back that my daughter runs a YouTube channel. She already has a channel. And she does make a lot of videos. It's about the way to do things, and she creates her own hacks and
She's a
posts them.
YouTuber by herself.
Yeah, I was not even aware of that. So yeah, at one point I actually stopped her channel. Then I said, then I went through her content. It was okay. So she has got now hang of, there's something called shorts on YouTube, wherein there are these small role play,
30-second videos.
and she does that. So it's like there's a lot of content on her channel already. So now I don't know how to handle it. Should I just ban it, or should I support her? Secondly, because of this whole COVID situation and home isolation, she doesn't get to go out. My family was infected really badly in the COVID, so it's been practically in isolation for us. So a lot less of physical activity, I would say, and a lot of screen time. So I don't know how to find a balance.
See, Mr. Ram, first of all, you'll need to have a social media plan, as I already stated. You'll need to have a social media plan for yourself and also for the kid. And giving YouTube to such a young child, I would condone. I don't agree. Probably, you or your wife can help the child shoot the video and you can upload it for her. But she can't use YouTube before she's actually allowed to use YouTube, because the age limits are there for a reason. We can't let a young child of 8 years get exposed to YouTube, and because it's not only her content that she's posting, she's also seeing other people doing things, and by doing that she's disengaging from the other things that she's supposed to do at her age, socializing, or at least spending her time creatively doing something that, except YouTube, that interests her.
Monica, I would like to add to what Mr. Ram has said. Is there any permissible age for using social media platforms? I think that would be great. Is there any guideline or permissible age?
Yeah. So for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the minimum age is 13 years. You can't use it before 13 years. Okay. For WhatsApp, the minimum age is 16 years.
Okay.
For YouTube, the minimum age is 18 years. And if a child is more than 13 years, he can use it with parental supervision.
Okay.
And for PUBG, Clash of Clans, games like that, the minimum age is 13 years.
Okay.
After 18, the child can use it to his will. But between 13 to 18 years, again, the child needs parental permission or supervision for that.
Okay. So probably these limits already answer Mr. Ram's question, because his daughter is of 8 years of age. And if she's consuming YouTube or probably creating content on YouTube,
she can create content, but she can't consume social media. That's all I'm saying. Her mother or her father can do it for her. They can post videos for her. She can do things that are creative, but the posting part should be left to the parents.
Okay.
No, I think kids are more intelligent than that nowadays.
You'll have to learn to do it then.
There are a lot of things I have learned from her. I was not even aware of certain shortcuts and the way things are done. And she already knows them. So,
So probably again, it's not that easy. Probably it looks easy. What I've understood is that if there is a permissible age for children to use social media, YouTube or Facebook, then that should be applicable. Parents should know about it, and they should try and build their boundaries or discipline for their children accordingly. Isn't it so?
Yeah.
So is it safe to say, some parents did ask us, currently I've just got a message, and some of the parents are asking similar question in a different way. So what is the right age to give a smartphone to their children? This is also something.
I'd say 13 years, because most of the apps can only be used when the child is 13 years or more. Okay. But still, if you need to give the child, a phone for communicating with the child, or, for keeping a track of where he is and, talking to him, basically, you can get him a basic phone which only, answers the call, takes the call and only sends off messages. Okay. Without social media.
Without social.
Basic phone, yeah, the basic phone, Nokia phone.
Nokia phone.
In our time. Yeah.
We used to have. Yeah, Mr. Shitanshu. Mr. Shitanshu has raised.
Yeah, Piyush, it's Ms. Shitanshu. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Monica, for arranging this session. My question is, like you mentioned, that if we are going to snatch the screen from a kid, the screen time helps in releasing that dopamine hormone, right? So, and if we're going to snatch that, and then that will make our kids more grumpy, irritable, and agitated. So, are there any activities that we can engage our kids with, or are there any foods that can include in our daily diet that can help in releasing that pleasure hormone, that is dopamine, so that the kid is not agitated, and we can have the alternative to the screen time?
Even if you give food that is rich in dopamine, I'll tell you what is rich in dopamine. Even if you give food that is rich in dopamine, it won't release dopamine to an extent that the child, instantly is happy.
Okay.
The pleasure foods are generally junk foods. Mostly they release a very high amount of dopamine, because the child, anything that the child likes and the child is doing, it will release dopamine.
Okay. So basically, that means there are no particular, sorry.
So basically what you can do is you can keep a mix of healthy food, and also, let the child binge on his favorite food on a weekend, so that, the dopamine level sustains through the week.
Okay.
So then you have nuts, you have fruits, berries and all, which are very high in dopamine.
All
but
right.
Still, you cannot give 100 grams of, nuts to the child. You still have to moderate it to 10 grams or 20 grams.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, and my second question is this: my kid, he is 4 years old, and he prefers eating food in front of TV or screen. And instead of that, I really try to curtail the screen hours. He's involved in screen hours for three hours in addition to the educational activities. But he prefers eating in front of a TV or phone. So is that permissible?
No. Dinner time, lunch time, meal time should be a family bonding exercise,
Right.
as I already said. You should talk about your day. He should talk about his day. You should talk about your day. Your husband can talk about his day. If you have another kid, everyone should talk. And, you can, it'll be a bonding exercise for your family. You'll get more closer if you do not use screens during the meal times, I feel. And if you follow it, the child will easily follow it, because the child will definitely see what you're doing. And if you do not use screens, the child will also do the same, because they tend to copy their parents a lot.
Yeah, that is correct. But I don't know. My office hours are 6:30 in the evening to 3:30 a.m. And whenever I make him eat, so I always try to keep my cell phone and all the TVs off. But he insists that, Mama, now I haven't watched TV for so long. Now, please, since you are along with me, so please switch on the TV or give me the phone. So he behaves like that. So I don't have.
Not while eating. He can have his TV viewing hour probably after dinner or before dinner, but not while eating, while having his meals.
Okay. Thank you so much.
What I've been able to understand is that it's not easy, is what I've been able to understand.
It's very difficult for us also. It's very difficult. For adults, it's even more difficult.
Children try to put their parents into a checkmate situation, wherein they'll say that they won't even eat without watching the screen. So you'll have to, probably parents choose lesser of the evils. because they want their children to be well fed.
Yes,
Probably
exactly.
they'll ask them to eat nutritious food in front of the TV.
Both of them, they don't like to eat nutritious food. They don't like to eat it without TV.
So for example, I just want to discuss this situation, because let's say the child says that I won't eat if the screen is not there, if the TV is not on. Then what should the parents do? um like you said, that we can come up with a plan. Let's say the plan is there, and they have to execute the plan, and on the very first day or 2-3 days, the child is crying, and he or she is completely not eating, and the screen is also off. So basically, initially, let's say the child is not eating as well as the screen is off. How should parents deal with it? Because
You
it
can't
is,
suddenly cut, if the child is watching, the child is having all his meals with TV, you can't cut it suddenly. कि बिल्कुल भी नहीं देख सकते तुम. No, that is not going to happen, and that is not how children work. You can probably, tell him that चलो इस meal के साथ you can watch TV, अब इस वाली meal के साथ you will have to have your food without TV. एक बार तुम्हारे हिसाब से, एक बार मामा के हिसाब से. So what will happen is, gradually you can, wean the child off TV, because when you're off TV, you'll try to talk to the child. The child might start actually enjoying it more than the TV time.
yes. So it means that parents' engagement has to be there.
Yes, without parents, children cannot prolifer.
Miss Priyanka, would you like to ask your question?
She has asked, but kids don't eat food without screen.
So so she is also mentioning something similar. Without screen, children do not eat their food. Yes.
So you can probably cut down one meal where you do not use screen. In the rest of the meals, you allow screen for the kid. Ek karke, just taper it down. Taper the screen usage down.
So first of all, if they can curtail it in a single meal, and then children will start getting the taste of what dopamine is released while talking to people, and get while they're socializing with their parents. So once they have that understanding, then they can compare it with the screen time. So probably it's okay. Now I've been able to understand, I think. Okay. Mr. Nilesh, you want to add something? So Mr. Nilesh, yes, Mr. Nilesh.
No, I was just saying that we also are what Priyanka mentioned and what someone else mentioned. We also face a similar problem that the kid doesn't eat unless give her the videos that she wants to watch. So there, what works for us is we put eating targets against the number of videos or the screen time that the kid gets. What happens often is that she her lunch takes 2 hours or 3 hours. It stretches up to 2-3 hours. She keeps on watching videos, and she she's not chewing the food. So there we have to pause the video and tell her that you chew the food and finish this portion, then only we will resume the video. So this started helping, and this started cutting down the screen time a lot. And over the time, for cutting down the screen time, a lot of efforts we have to put. So sometimes what happens is instead of giving her the phone and asking, letting her watch the video and doing our things, what we do is we try to play with her. See, for her, what's most important is when she's eating the food, she should not feel like she's eating the food. It should feel like kind of play to her, kind of sport to her. So we try to make the things as interactive as possible. Play with her. Throw a ball. Ask her to bring that ball, and then put something in her mouth. In that way, a lot of times we in our society we have park. We take her in the park, and while watching and playing, she eats her dinner like that. So to cut down the screen time, a lot of efforts we are having to put over there.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. And
Thanks for
Priyanka
sharing.
also mentioned that she pretends like internet is not working. She just fool her kid that the internet's not working, and yeah, that gets into eating.
Thanks, Mr. Nilesh, for sharing. So anyone else who would like to ask a question? So yeah, I just got a question to ask Dr. Monica. So which kind of websites or apps should be completely blocked? Can you specify these apps?
As I already mentioned, Piyush, any social media application before the age of 13 years should be blocked for the child.
Okay.
Any unsecured chat rooms where there's no adult supervising the chats should be blocked. Dating websites should be blocked. Any content that is, promoting hate on the basis of race, religion, sexuality, disability should also be condoned. And anything that shows age inappropriate content to the child, anything that shows sexually explicit content to the child should also be blocked.
Okay. Sounds good. So anyone else has any question? Okay. I think it sounds that we have covered a lot of subjects. So thank you, Dr. Monica, and thank you everyone for joining today on a Sunday evening. So we would like you to please like our Facebook and Instagram page, and it has a simple name, Mother Your Child. You can go there and like it. We'll post similar content over there in the coming time. In next 10 to 15 days, we are also going to come up with an app for parents to manage their children. So please like our pages or subscribe to our website also. So that way you do not miss out on this content. In the coming weeks, we'll try to dig deeper into the nutritional requirements of kids and psychological requirements of kids. So I think there were a lot of questions on how to manage the nutritional content and how to manage the psychological content, because there is this checkmate situation. So probably we'll try to take one situation at a time and then form our structure around it. So Dr. Monica, thank you very much again. And everyone else who joined, thank you.
My pleasure.
Mr. Himanshu, thank you, Mr. Himanshu. Thank you, Ms. Priyanka.
Thank you and all the best.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.